I'm at Atchison, Kansas, about an hour north of Kansas City on the Missouri River, and much history here because the Missouri River is as wide and even longer than the Mississippi River. It flows, if you look at a map, it goes nearly to Canada and all the way out by Wyoming and Montana and just continues on and on. But there's a lot of history around here, and behind me is the Atchison County Courthouse. And let's take a look at it. So this grand castle-like structure is just about 4 blocks from the castle-like structure that's utilized as a post office here. And it's just incredible architecture at a time when they say that it was built in 1896. And there's the 18, and there's the 96. So that was definitely put on the building at that point. But when you look closely at buildings like this that are intensely detailed and at the size of the stones, it's just really extremely interesting. If you look at the size of these blocks and then how each one fits perfectly, but they're alternating. There'll be a big one and then a thinner band and then a wide, a bigger stone and then a thinner one, all the way up. And then in this area, they go from rock stones with texture to then flat, and just all the way up. And the arch itself has to be perfectly cut to come in at these perfect measurements to make that arch just right. This entire building has a lower subfloor level that is covered by the land level around it, which would really point to a mudflood type building. Those are red brick on the inside of that, but that would have been done later. But interestingly, on this courthouse, these steps in a mudflood scenario where the land had covered up lower levels, they would have all been put in there later. But the building, as we go down, would have been right here where it is. Of course, a different floor has been put in, and up above, all that cement and that entrance would have been put at a later date. And this obviously has been painted, and it's even been conjectured that these stones are actually cast like bricks and that the patterns on them repeat. But that aside, whether or not they're covering a red brick building underneath, it's still a grand accomplishment at a time in 1896. And there wasn't a whole lot out here. Now it's a little windy today, so I want to stay out of the wind. And this is the back side of the building, but we want to go around to the other side, which really doubles for the front now. You can't enter at this entrance, but we will go around to the other side, and let's see what the marble says here. It says 1896, 1896. It's a little hard to read. It's really wearing off. And we can see the date though at the top. And you can see all around where that lower level is. Incidentally, there are no construction photos, none that I found of this or any other of these buildings. Sometimes you'll find one which it looks like they might be refurbishing a part. I've never seen anything in depth of any of the construction of this. Now, these joints Look like they've almost been squeezed out of a bottle to put on the outside. And there are some older buildings where, well, there you go right there, they popped off. You can see there's mortar then underneath, but those perfect beads they run along there seem to be just added after the fact. Well, let's go take a look at this building on the inside. As we enter, the pattern on the floor is really,
It's cool, isn't it?
it is great. It's very interesting. Of course, this building still has radiators in it. And everything is still very old as it was. And this is marble steps and square tile floors. And this is on an area of Kansas that was really the Wild West. This is right along the river, of course. Hello. And it seems that even much of the courtroom is very similar to what was before. If you see the original gate to go to the front. Of course, much has been redone, but the interesting part is to see the parts that are still original. These stairs are iron. Hard as rock iron. It even looks that they have some original signage that was still here, or at least very, very old. But you notice the stairs are marble, the side of the wall's marble. To get a square that size, that's about 5 feet by 5 feet of marble out in these parts. You can see the width of that. And these have some cracks in it. Of course, those cracks would have taken a long time to happen. And the notion that these were only here for the last 125 years or so, that marble's indoors. It would have taken a long time to get to that level. And these stairways in the back are very, very similar with the marble. And the radiators themselves, of course, a lot of people have seen a radiator, but there's a steam boiler running all through the building, and it comes up through those and heats the building. So we finally got to see the inside of a building. Many times the insides, albeit they look really, really old, don't seem near as old as what you see on the outside of the building. So they look to have all been refurbished around 1896, but some of the other just seems ancient. And this is, there in this small town, there are numerous buildings like this right along the Missouri River. And really, to figure out what these were used for and what the original purpose was, well, they were built by forces of light or forces of darkness. And to me, the grandeur of them and the gloriousness of them puts them with forces of light in my book. And these buildings are really amazing. I want you to post down below what your thoughts are on these and your thoughts about them being covered up on the lower levels. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.